Hello, and welcome to the home of the Ghost Owl, and we're looking at our Warhammer the Old World content. And there was a big news post yesterday that came up on Warhammer Community, Old World Almanac. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the legacy PDFs are here. There was conflicting information. Would it be launch day? Would it be soon after? How soon after? Well, it didn't happen on launch day, and many of us were sat here thinking, when is it going to happen? When they say soon after, are we talking days, weeks, or maybe even a month? But no, it literally is days, and the PDFs are here. So for me, that's it. Whatever you think about the core and the legacy armies, that's a whole separate discussion. At least the rules are here. So, if you, what did it say here? If you've missed that, yeah, made to order wave, yeah, okay. Green tide on the horizon. We talked about that. We did a video on that one. Okay, for those of you with existing collections who would like to jump into a game, here are full Grand Army lists for the 7 legacy factions from Warhammer Fantasy Battles. Ah, man. Vampire Counts, Dark Elves, particular fan favourites of mine, though I also do have Lizardmen, Skaven armies, and I'd love to have had a Chaos Dwarf one, maybe in the future. Right, so the rules contained within this document allow players the opportunity to try out Warhammer the Old World rules using models they may have in their collection, and oh yes, I do. They are not intended for use in match play events, and yes, I know the discussion on this one. I'm not going to go into it. I have my own thoughts on it, but essentially this is something we already knew, and they came out and stated before, and will not be updated in line with any future Warhammer the Old World publications. And again, we knew this. No point discussing it any further. All we can do is sit here and be high on copium and say that Old World is going to be so successful that Games Workshop cannot ignore putting these factions in the future. Who knows? Right. These are, however, complete lists and cover more or less every generic character, troop, monster, or war machine that was available to each faction during the final edition of Warhammer Fantasy Battles. Very nice, actually. Nice. A good deal of care and attention has gone into playtesting and balancing these lists, and each comes with upgrades, magic items, additional spell laws, and army rules, which is really nice. You know, it's really nice. They've actually pretty much done the same as the core factions have got, at least to start with, right? So it looks like a pretty complete list of stuff you'll need to play and at least have some level of competitiveness, at least at the beginning. We've yet to see what power creep will look like. So take the Dark Elves, for instance, whose Witch Elves are murderous. Nice, that's an old rule. And Black Ark Corsairs still outfitted with the snazzy Sea Dragon cloaks. Very cool. So, murderous, what does that get you? When engaged in combat, a model with this special rule that is fighting with a hand weapon may re-roll any wound rolls, or any rolls to wound of a natural 1. Hey, that's pretty nice, you know, with Witch Elves. They're probably putting out a lot of attacks. Not always the strongest attack, so having the ability to re-roll the wound, that could be quite nice. A Sea Dragon Cloak. A model with this special rule improves its armor value by 1 to a maximum of 2+ against non-magical shooting attacks. Pretty standard of what you'd expect from a Sea Dragon Cloak, so cool. For the Lizardmen, all the favourites are back, including the puissant Slann Mage Priests, who are just as powerful as they ever were. They still cast with the Law of Lustria and can also attain various disciplines of the old ones. Very cool. Such as Higher State of Mind. And here we have a Slann Mage Priest. Typical profile I'd expect. He gets what? Arcane Shield, Cold-Blooded, Fly 8, Large Target, and Lustria. So a discipline of the old one. Higher State of Mind. This character gains the Ethereal special rule. Okay. The Chaos Dwarfs. Wow, I'd so love an army, a proper army of Chaos Dwarfs. Forge World, why won't you release them again? The Chaos Dwarfs, meanwhile, bring the might of their infernal industries to bear on the battlefields of the Old World. The Death Shrieker rocket launcher is a classic artillery piece which can dish out serious punishment, for instance. It certainly does when I play Total War Warhammer. Demolition rockets, 12 to 48 inches, strength 3, 6 under the template, and then no AP but -3 under the whole of the template. Okay. So it's using its blast Armor Bane 1, Bombardment, Cumbersome, Move or Shoot multiple. Okay. Note, this weapon shoots like a stone thrower using the Bombardment special rule, a 3-inch blast template, and the Black Powder misfire table. Multiple wounds D6 special rule applies only to a single model whose base lies underneath the central hole, as normal. Infernal Incendiaries, strength 3, also 3 under the hole, no AP, but has flaming attacks essentially. And it's the same, shoots like a stone thrower. Any unit that suffers 1 or more unsaved wounds from this weapon must make a panic test as if it had taken heavy casualties. Cool. Okay, but while these are complete lists, there are no plans to release miniatures to use them with. The rules are intended for people who have armies in their collection. Games Workshop, turn your mind around in the future, please. I would love you to do so. But that's enough of that. Right, okay. So without further ado, I have already downloaded the Vampire Count one, just to have a look and see what they look like. So, nothing detailed there. So Grand Army composition, this is just the contents. So we got Vampire Count's Legacy Army list. So as you'd expect, the Battle Standard Bearer in here. Interesting, it says that you have to pay 25 points for the Battle Standard Bearer, because I seem to remember that, don't the Bretonians get a Battle Standard Bearer for free? I don't have the book, so I can't refer to it, but I seem to remember in a Warhammer Community article they got it for free. Okay, I'm not going to go into the detail because I am going to be doing faction focuses even on the Legacy armies. This is more to look at what is contained. So you've got your characters in here. Banner of the Count, Death of the General, special rule, no surprise there. Here's your Necromancers, Invocation of Nehek, okay. Strigoi Ghoul Kings and Ken Race are in here as well. I wonder if they're going to be in as a unit or a hero only. White Kings, okay. Tomb Banshees as well, okay. Character mounts, Nightmare Coven Throne, Abyssal Terror. Abyssal Terror is going to be interesting. I'd like to know what the base size of the Abyssal Terror is going to be, because that in theory means that you could use like Neferata, Manfred or whatever just as a lord on an Abyssal Terror, because that's what they're on. That could be cool. Okay, Skeletal Steed, Nightmare Graveguard. Looks like, they've got the special rules in here as well, Cleaving Blow. So it looks pretty they've even done a little narrative thing about them as well. They didn't even have to go that far. It does look like, I have to say, well, again, ignoring the argument over legacy core, and I've made my thoughts clear. I'd love it if everything was core, but it does look like they've put a bit of effort into these. They haven't just thrown them out. Crypt Horrors, Bat Swarms, Vargheists, Blood Knights. Weapon skill 5. Okay, nearly 40 points for a 1 wound, 2 attack model. Okay. They do get full plate armor, which is nice. Oh, and their attacks are magical with armor piercing of 1. Okay, remains to be seen how strong that is. Got Black Knights in here as well. Direwolves, Hex Wraiths, Coven Throne. I do love that miniature. It's classed as a heavy chariot. Okay. As is the Mortis engine. Though if I remember, when thinking back at the troop types, by classing it as a heavy chariot rather than a behemoth means that, what is this unit strength? Is it 3 or is it 5? I think it's 5. It's got 5 wounds, okay. So it's not really going to be impacted too much on the unit strength. Corpse Cart in here, that's also a heavy chariot. 50 by 100, that seems quite big for a base for a Corpse Cart. Black Coach, 50 by 100. I need to measure that out. I can't, I'm in mind right now, I can't picture a 50 by 100 base and see how that would compare to the Black Coach from the Nighthaunt, because that is a huge model. But again, 50 by 100 seems like quite a big base for the old small Black Coach. I can't picture those measurements in my mind. I'd have to measure it up. Zombie Dragon, Terrorgeist, or Abyssal Terror, 50 by 100. Yeah, I don't know what that looks like for the Manfred Neferata miniatures. When I do the faction focus, I actually do own these miniatures, so I will have some bases and I will look and see the viability of using some of these. Though if anyone's got any comments, obviously please let me know. But I say we will go into much more detail on the faction focus. This is just more to see what does a legacy PDF look like. So we've got vampiric powers in here as well. This is pretty much cut and paste from the 8th edition book, but it's all there and it's been reasonably updated by the looks of it for Warhammer the Old World. We've got magic weapons in here. We've got a Frostblade, Sword of Kings, Blood Drinker, yes, and a Dreadlance, okay, yeah, for your Blood Dragons. Got some magic armor in here. Oh, we've got the Von Carstein ring. What does it do? When the wearer of the Von Carstein ring loses their last wound, roll a d6 and roll over 2+, the wound is not lost. So it's not quite resurrection then. It's like a one-off save one wound as opposed to a complete resurrection. I guess it's only 40 points. It's not quite the old Von Carstein ring, bring the model back on a 2+ with full wounds or anything crazy like that. Drakenhof banner. Oh, they Forge World did a battle standard bearer with the Drakenhof banner, which looked really, really cool. Screaming banner, another old one. Okay. Hand of Dust, yeah. Cloak of Mist and Shadows. That was supposed to be the cloak that Heinrich Kemmler wore, if I remember, along with the skull staff. So if you've got an old Heinrich Kemmler model, that could be, you kind of got what you see is what you got built in. Okay. Vampire Count special was Cleaving Blow is special. Dark, Necromantic, Undead, Immune to Fear, Psychology, Unbreakable and Unstable. Newly Dead. Beyond Starting Size, that's going to be Zombies, Resurrection. Law of Undeath. Okay, so there's 3 spells here. May discard one of their randomly generated spells as normal. When they do so, they may select either the signature spell of their chosen law of magic or one of the spells below. So yeah, you've got your 6 spells from whatever law they've been given, law of necromancy, for example. If you didn't get what you wanted particularly, you can use either the signature or you can take these as well. And that brings us to the end of the PDF. So look, I have to say, guys, it's not ideal how I would have liked to see it, especially given that I have quite a significant dark elf and vampire count armies, but it is what it is, and I have to say what I've got here looks pretty comprehensive, looks at a glance like there's been some effort put into it. I need to go into it in detail to really see how these units stack up with the core factions. I don't have the core faction books yet, so actually legacy armies are easier for me to access right now than the core ones because my pre-order hasn't arrived. I've only got the main rule book, but once we get into doing the faction focuses, we'll be able to see how the core factions stand up against the legacy ones. And on top of that, let's face it, it's all very well looking at it on paper and doing math hammer. You need to play a few games. I'm not going to be able to play a few games for a month because all my models are packed up in boxes to be shipped, and they get shipped out next week, and then they're gone for a month in a container. So it'll be a month before I get to play any games. But in the meantime, I'm going to do plenty of being math hammer. We're going to finish off the main rulebook, and then we're going to go into the faction focuses, starting with the core factions, but we are going to also include the legacy armies as well. And they're out, guys. The legacy PDFs have been released. They're available to download here, and I will put a link to the article in the description down below. There you go. Big news. Good news to a point. take it for what it is. Hey, at least I can still put my vampire counts on the table and play them with the rules that fit with the game rather than home brewing it. And, some tournaments are going to accept this. So it is what it is. Hope you've enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Let me know why in the comments down below. And as always, if you want to see more content, hit that subscribe button. Totally free for you to do. Means a big deal for me. So thank you for that in advance. You've been watching The Ghost Owl, and I'll see you all very, very soon.